webinar on the PA share system from the Pennsylvania State Historic Preservation Office. We will get started in a little bit. First, just some housekeeping and intro things. I'm Sabra Smith with Preservation Pennsylvania. I'm the communications director. Preservation Pennsylvania is the statewide nonprofit for historic preservation. During Preservation Month, Happy Preservation Month, we'll be offering 2 webinars. Today's webinar in PA Share with Shelby Splain, who's Education and Outreach Coordinator with the Pennsylvania SHPO. And then same time next week, we will be live announcing the 2021 Pennsylvania at Risk. So we hope that you join us for that. Before today's webinar, I'm gonna just post a little polling thing just to kind of get a handle on how many of you have already tried the past CRGIS system, and how many have gotten into the PA share system just kind of on an experimental basis or for work or whatever. I will tell you that today's audience is a whole variety of people. We've got people from who work professionally at CRM sources. We've got local governments. We've got people with historic sites. We've got preservation advocates. So welcome to all of you. It's a great group of people, and thank you for all the work that you do locally and across the state. So CRGIS, yes, we've got a lot of users on that, and ooh, already some PA share folks. So I'm going to end that poll and I'll share the results so you guys can also see. Now, today, if you have any questions, there's a Q&A feature down at the bottom of your screen. If you mouse down to the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A section. I'm also going to be posting, Shelby will be referring to some various links and resources today. I will post those links in the chat window at the beginning and end of our session today to avoid you having to scribble them down quickly. I think we've got a good group in the room waiting, so I think I will thank Shelby for joining us today and for sharing her expertise, and I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Sabra. I appreciate the chance to talk to everybody here about PA Share, and I think Preservation Month is a great time to do it because, as you may have seen in Sabra's teaser for this webinar, we do have a bit of a contest running this Preservation Month. So I am going to get started. You'll bear with me while I share my screen. And there we go. All right. So good morning, and thank you again for joining us today. We will cover, we have about 45 minutes, so I want to leave enough time for questions at the end. So a couple of things we'll cover today. For those viewers who may not be familiar with us, I'll introduce you to the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission and the Pennsylvania State Historic Preservation Office. I'll provide an overview about PA Share, particularly what it is and what it can do, and I'll tell you a little bit about our Preservation Month contest. And I'll give you a list of places to go online to get help and learn more about PA Share. So, and we'll definitely leave time for questions at the end. So for those of you who don't know us, PHMC, or the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission, is the Commonwealth's official history agency. The PA SHPO is one of PHMC's bureaus. The other bureaus are the Pennsylvania State Archives, the State Museum of Pennsylvania, and the Bureau for Historic Sites and Museums. We here at the SHPO is the official historic preservation agency for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and PHMC's executive director serves as our state historic preservation officer. We have a staff of 26 that includes preservationists, planners, GIS specialists, public historians, archaeologists, and an architect. We administer state historic preservation programs authorized through Pennsylvania's State History Code, and we also manage several federal programs created by the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966 as amended. Our work is primarily supported through grants from the National Historic Preservation Fund, partnerships, and Commonwealth support. Also, if you're still not quite sure who we are also the agency that manages Pennsylvania's historical marker program, which are those blue and gold metal signs that you see everywhere you go. We like to call them history on a stick, that provide some great information about Pennsylvania and American history. So PA Share, what is it? PA Share stands for Pennsylvania State Historic and Archaeological Resource Exchange. It is the SHPO's new online data management and cultural resources GIS tool, and it replaces CRGIS, which was taken offline on March 31st. It is the culmination of years of extensive research and development to transform project planning by putting just about everything needed to interact with the PA SHPO in one convenient place. In a nutshell, I like to say that PA Share is a planning tool that is available to anyone. And I'll talk more about how it is a useful tool in a few minutes. So first, though, I want to get started with some practical things like finding PA Share and getting started. Here is what you'll see when you go to the PA Share website, share.phmc.pa.gov. From this landing page, you can sign in with your Keystone Login, your Commonwealth email, or as an anonymous guest user. So let's talk a little bit about getting into PA Share. I'll cover a bit about the different levels of access and benefits of each next. So I am one of the people who staff the help desk, and one of the most frequent questions we get at the help desk are about signing into PA Share for the first time. Before you even try, you'll need to get a Keystone Login if you are not a Commonwealth employee. Keystone Login is an online user authentication system, which just means that it is a secure way for people to do business with state agencies because it prevents unauthorized access and protects personal information. The Commonwealth introduced the Universal Keystone Login in December 2019 and is directing all agencies to use the system. You can find Keystone Login by clicking Register for an Account on the PA Share homepage or through the website showing here on the screen. You will need to pick a username. You'll need to add your email address, and this is very important. Keystone doesn't require it, but we do. Set a password and provide the other required information. Once you have your Keystone Login, return to PA Share, click Sign In. Follow the steps and make sure you choose the option to sign in as a Commonwealth citizen. You can also sign in anonymously and not create an account by clicking Proceed as Guest. So once you've signed in, you'll see the PA Share homepage, which looks like this. So this landing page, which you can always get back to by clicking on Home at the top of the screen, is how you can navigate through PA Share. So I just want to say today I've opted for some screenshots with arrows or circles or boxes to help show you different parts of PA Share instead of rolling the dice with a live demo. So you will notice things like these bright orange arrows or boxes to call out different information that I'll be talking about. So here's a quick tour of this page. The blue tiles that you'll see over much of the screen provide access to searching and submitting information and connecting with the SHPO, as well as subscription and account information, managing your submissions in the dashboards, and getting help. You can use the dashboard at the left, which is that gray box, to find projects and submissions you've sent to the PA SHPO via PA Share, as well as our responses. These are all referred to as dashboards or queues in PA Share, but are really just tables of information. A bulletin board near the top of the screen above the blue tiles provides information about important updates or notifications. The icons in the upper right corner take you to help and your user profile. I want to point out that right now the internal PA Share help isn't as developed as the help materials on our website. So I'd encourage you to visit phmc.pa.gov/PA share instead. So before I move on, and because this is one of the first things people ask us about, is an overview of the different access options for PA Share and the benefits. So PA Share includes 4 levels of access to accommodate different user needs for interacting with the PA SHPO. The guest access is ideal for one-time or very infrequent users. It is free and doesn't require any login information or subscription. Does have limited functionality for viewing basic data, and users can only send us success stories. The basic level is ideal for users who do not need enhanced data access and mapping, but need to submit projects to the PA SHPO for review. Basic access is also free, but does require users to have a Keystone login and set up a PA Share account. The Pro level is ideal for preservation and planning professionals, students, small nonprofits, municipal governments, etc., that want full access to all of PA Share's data, as well as the convenient and efficient functionality. It is intended for one user and does require a Keystone login and a paid subscription. The business account is identical to Pro. It's designed for larger groups like preservation or planning firms, agencies, nonprofits, large municipal governments that want to have up to 5 users to have access to the same PA Share account. The biggest benefit of a paid subscription is convenience and enhanced functionality. With a Pro or business subscription, you can see all of our scanned files, customize maps with dozens of available layers, export search results as a CSV or shapefile, and use the My.org dashboards for a quick at-a-glance information, and also have access to Surveyor, which is a mobile app for field surveys. As I go through this overview today, there will be a few times where I point out these different benefits. This is just a very quick overview of these 4 different options. You can learn more on our website at phmc.pa.gov/PA Share, and then find the page for options and subscriptions. So switching gears, let's talk a little bit about what PA Share does. So as I mentioned, PA Share is a planning tool, and there are 3 main things I'll cover related to how it's a planning tool today. First, find data for project planning, including access to our scanned files and customized maps. You can submit and track projects online, which includes submitting and following your projects through the system and through our staff reviews. And then manage field surveys and data collection with apps to capture information and mapping in the field, and then efficiently process that information from your home or office. So I'll talk a little bit about each 3 of these categories. So the first category that I'll touch on, and that I think is applicable to all of our different kinds of listeners today, is accessing data. PA Share's search and export functions help users find and analyze data for cultural resources for all sorts of purposes. And when I refer to cultural resources or just resources, I mean above ground buildings, bridges, structures, cemeteries, and archaeological sites. So before PA Share, our legacy data related to the programs we administer, which we've been collecting since the 1940s or 50s, so quite a few decades, all of that legacy data was stored in either CRGIS, what we call the Environmental Review Tracking System, several different databases and spreadsheets, and in an overflowing file room. Last year, the SHPO completed its 3-year project to digitize this file room, which meant when finished, over 1 million scanned pages of information is now more accessible to everyone. So with PA Share, the public, agencies, partners can access this wide range of data remotely with no more trips to Harrisburg needed. Guest and basic users can only see a portion of this data, like National Register nominations, historic contexts, report abstracts, etc. And Pro and business subscribers can view all 1 million pages of those scanned files. PA Share, which is much more sophisticated than CRGIS if you're somebody who is used to using that system. Users in PA Share can search for resources, projects, historical markers, surveys, and reports using a criteria-based search, or find out what we have related to a particular area with the map search. Pro and business users can download, print, and analyze that information however they'd like. A quick note before I move on is that only those with archaeological privileges can search and view archaeological data in PA Share. And if you are an archaeologist or need to view archaeological data, you can find information about how to apply for those privileges on our website. So we'll start with a quick tour through the PA Share search screen. You can get here by clicking on Search from the homepage, and it is composed of 3 sections. You can search for places, projects, marker, etc., based on criteria you select in the criteria search window on the left side of the screen. You can also search for these same things using the map through an address or spatial search, which is what you see on kind of the right 2/3 of your screen. All results for either type of search are returned in the grid at the bottom of the screen. And this grid includes a summary tab of results, which is the All Results tab, and then tabs for each of the different search types. We do have information on our website about how to perform searches and understand the map, which is much more detailed than I have time to go into here today. So I will take you through how to do a basic criteria search. So to perform one of these, click on each word at the top of the window, quick search, projects, resources, surveys, reports, or markers to find the type of records you want to search for. And then once you've selected that, you can choose your search parameters. So for example, if you're searching for National Register listings in a particular place, you would pick the county, you'd pick the municipality or select all, and then choose listed under master eligibility. And then you can click below those basic search fields to the advanced section, or the advanced search, which has a lot more choices. So in this example on your screens, I am searching for all of the National Register listed properties in Dauphin County. It returned 291 results in the grid. Again, I want to point out the 2 tabs in the grid. The Summary All Results tab will only provide basic information. If you go to the specific tab, in this instance, Resources, you'll see the type of resource, the name as it is in PA Share, the address if we have one, etc. And then in any of the grids, queues, tables, whatever you want to call them in PA Share, they can be sorted and filtered by clicking on the column headers. In this example, I sorted it with the most recent listing first. So I'd like to see what the PA SHPO has for the Steelton High School. I clicked on the magnifying glass icon in that results table, and the map zoomed to the school's location, which you can see as a blue circle on the map. Again, working in that results table at the bottom of the screen, I can click on the view icon, which opens a pop-up window with at-a-glance information. This is probably very similar to what you would have seen in CRGIS if you're used to using that system. Depending on your level of access, you may not be able to see much more information. But as I noted, all users can access things like National Register nominations and historic contexts. Then if I would click on that Go To icon, which is a box with an arrow in it from the results grid, it will open the record for that resource where I can get a lot more information than I could with the at-a-glance screen. So moving into the map, we'll take a quick look at what is part of the PA Share map screen. Now I'm showing you this screen as part of the search, but map screens are also part of PA Share's wizards for submitting projects or resources. So again, I'm only touching on these tools today, and we do have information on our website about deciphering the PA Share map. I will note again that some of the map's functionality is dependent on your level of access. So starting in the upper left corner of the screen, you can search by address or place using the white search bar. Moving below that, you can zoom into and out of the map The house icon zooms the map out to the extents of Pennsylvania, and then the marker icon below that opens Bing Maps. The last three icons in the set are for measuring distance and area on the map. At the upper right corner of the map, you'll find the icons for base maps, layers, map legend, and print. There are up to 9 available base maps, and depending on your access level, anywhere from 13 to 30 available layers that you can use and combine with the base maps to customize the kind of map that you'd like. At the lower right corner, you'll find the tools to clear your map search, download a shapefile of your search, and perform a spatial search. So we'll look at 2 examples so you can see a little bit about what the PA Share maps look like. So here is an example of an address search for East Nantmeal Township, Chester County, using the search box in the upper left corner of the map screen. This is a good example because it is an area that returned a very colorful map showing how different types of information will be displayed in a basic PA Share search. This uses the system's default base map. The legend is shown below on this map for illustration only. In PA Share, you can view the legend by clicking on the legend icon in the upper right corner, which is just below the base maps and layers. So this is another example where I wanted to demonstrate a spatial search and including a buffer, meaning that you want to see what else is around your search area. So the base map here is imagery hybrid. Spatial searches, whether you do them with or without a buffer, return records for everything we have in PA Share within the area you've drawn. That includes above ground, and if you have privileges, archaeological resources, projects, markers, surveys, and reports. You can drop a point on a map or draw a line or a shape for a spatial search and add a buffer zone of any distance you'd like. This example shows South Coventry Township, Chester County, and the resource information for the township and surrounding area. I've set the buffer as 1 mile from the center point of the project, which is at the intersection of Porter's Mill Road and Applehair Road. The buffer line is visible as a black circle on this map, and it's tough to see that, so look for the orange arrow instead. The areas highlighted in teal are cultural resources that intersect with that 1 mile buffer radius. So there are a few different historic resources that fall within this buffer, as you can see in the results grid at the bottom of the screen. Like with a resources search, if you click the Go To or View icons for more information about the items listed in the grid, and then your level of access will dictate how much information you see. So moving into the next way that PA Share is a planning tool, PA Share's wizards help users send resources and projects to us, and tracking dashboards help users see our responses in real time. So now with PA Share, external users submit information for most PA SHPO programs electronically instead of sending us paper forms and related information through snail mail or emails or OneDrive links, Dropbox folders, etc. This streamlines the submission process and PA SHPO's internal review processes. PA Share replaces many of the SHPO forms you're used to using. Information is submitted to PA SHPO as a project, even if you're sending us a determination of eligibility or a marker nomination, using one of PA Share's many wizards. And by wizard, I mean an online form. While each one asks for slightly different information, many share common features like project contacts, interactive mapping, and photo and file uploads. Users can track all of their project submissions and SHPO responses then in real time. So this next set of slides will take you through some of these common features. We do have some guidance prepared for using these wizards, and we are absolutely working on a lot more. If you have questions, you can reach out to the PA Share help desk, and I'll tell you how to do that at the end of this presentation. So all users start at the submit page in PA Share, which you can again get to from the home page. From here, you can submit information about a specific resource or submit a project or one or more of our program areas, such as environmental review, determination of eligibility, markers, nominations, surveys, and success stories. You'll start by finding the type of project you're going to submit to us from this screen, which will then open a wizard for entering the required information. So as I noted, these wizards replace many of PA-SHPO's forms. So that means the environmental review wizard replaces the old project review form. The DOE request and inventory form wizards replace the old historic resources survey form. And the marker nomination wizard replaces the old historical marker nomination. It is important to note, though, however, they do not replace the National Park Service forms, but they do provide a way for you to submit your materials electronically so that that information can be tracked in PEShare and integrated into the database. So that means National Register nominations still need to be submitted on the NPS form, in addition to the National Register nomination wizard. The wizards for historic tax credit projects are not yet ready and available to the public. I pointed out on the screen, you'll see one of those orange boxes and arrows. Remember the success story wizard, because I will be coming back to that one at the end of our presentation. So for most submissions, the contact information block is the typical starting point, regardless of the program area. You can add as many contacts as you like, and contacts will receive all of the correspondence and notification as the project goes through review, whether it's for a determination of eligibility or an environmental review. It is very important to fill in this information correctly and always use the same email for the contact information as you do for signing into PEShare. I can also point out here that many of the screens throughout PEShare will have help text to give you some additional information about what to do or how to do it. We're also continuing to update this help. You'll also note throughout PEShare that there are red asterisks by certain fields. This means that the information is required for you to submit the project to us. So this will include, you'll see these on data fields and mapping, which we'll talk about in a minute. PEShare's interactive mapping is also part of the submission wizards for some projects. When users enter the project or resource location, PEShare zooms the map to that location and shows any known resources within the area. And by known, I mean what is captured in PEShare. There are many, many older and historic places that are not yet documented in PEShare. So this is not an absolute what you see on the screen. It's just what we have documented in our system. So users can click on the different lines for a quick look at what is there. In this example, I'm looking at PHMC's Hope Lodge Historic Site in Montgomery County. Here I clicked on the blue lines to see what is in the area I'm looking at. A pop-up window provides the details, in this case, the National Register listed Hope Lodge property. The other color coding you see on the map relates to eligible historic resources, which are in green. The undetermined resources that are documented but not evaluated, those are orange, and historical markers, which are the red squares. So then next, once you look at the map to see what is in your project area, for an example, for an environmental review project, you may see that the resource you're working with isn't yet captured in PEShare. Now users can enter that information as part of their project submittal without having to send us separate paperwork like the former historic resource survey form. So to begin, you want to select Add a Resource, which then presents you with a menu of choices to get started. PEShare's interactive mapping then lets you draw a project area or the boundary of a historic resource in the context of what is already documented in PEShare. So after opening the building resource details screen, like I did, users are then first asked to map the boundary. In my Hope Lodge example here, I can see that the house itself isn't called out specifically. So I need to submit information only about the house for my project, so I draw the boundary around its footprint. You can see it on the map in gray with a black outline. After mapping, users will move to the next section and add description and significance information, which is very similar to the old HRSF forms that you may be more familiar with. You'll be asked to enter things like architectural style, materials used in construction, the historic function, the current function, and any other information that you know about the resource. Some other fields include things like building dimensions, architect or designer, owner, tax parcel, etc. Another feature that's common to most wizards is the ability to upload supporting information right into PA Share. So in many cases, users are asked to add at least one photograph, which is of course required because they are critical for sharing all different types of information. So here's what those screens will look like in PA Share. And then the screens for uploading an attachment, whether it's a PDF or a Word document or a PowerPoint show, what have you, looks similar to the one for photographs. And there you can see we have that on-screen guidance to tell you what to submit and how. Another common feature in PA Share are queues or dashboards, and I think this is again one of the most common questions we get at the help desk is how to get back into PA Share and kind of find those SHPO responses and requests. So when I say queue or dashboard, either term essentially means lists or tables of information. These tables help users to find and track all their projects, submissions, SHPO requests, and responses to those submissions. You can get to these queues through a link in an email, which I'll show you next, and from the dashboard on the left side of your home screen, or the blue My Projects tile at the right. So one of the things that's very new to users with PA Share is our auto responses. So PA Share's auto response functionality keeps you notified of your progress through the submission and review phases of your project. So you'll get one of these auto responses as soon as you enter your contact information, when you submit to the SHPO, and when your submission is received, and for several other steps. So the example on the screen is for an environmental review project, but this happens for all submission wizards. The emails include information about what step in the acceptance and review process has just occurred and how to find your submission or PA SHPO responses in PA Share. You'll see there where it says you can access the submission ad, and there's a hyperlink. The last big piece of PA Share that I'll talk about today is Surveyor, which is PA Share's companion app. Surveyor offers the convenience of integrated field survey and survey project management through a suite of tools and dashboards. Surveyor is the best way to take the functionality of PA Share out into the field. It is a form-centric mobile tool for conducting resource surveys from a variety of handheld devices such as tablets and smartphones. It uses Esri's Survey 123, which some of you may be familiar with if you've been working with our office on using Survey 123 for some of your work. So it uses Esri's tool to collect information about above ground resources, archaeological sites, and proposed historic districts. The field forms are designed for ease of use in the field, so they do not include all of the data fields that are present in the PA Share resource screens. Part of that is Surveyor Manager, which is a project management dashboard in which the project lead can manage survey teams, provide quality control on survey data, and submit resources to the SHPO. So after initial data collection, additional information can be added to the resource through the Surveyor Manager dashboard, or then even in PA Share once a resource has been accepted by SHPO staff. So this means you can maximize your time in the field by collecting the very basic of information, and then come back and sit at your desk and enter the rest of those fields. So you're not standing out on the street in front of a property for 5 or 10 minutes capturing information. I will note that we're in the final stages of developing Surveyor, and we're expecting it to be released in the next several weeks. So here's a quick look at what users can collect in the field with Surveyor. Like I said, you only need to collect essential information like the location, a photo, and perhaps one or other 2 pieces of information, and then can complete the rest of it in your home or office. So this is what Surveyor will look like on a phone for the above ground resource form. It is designed to collect our minimum record for buildings, bridges, and cemeteries. This includes location data, a map, description, use, and a photograph. Within the app, users can take photographs and attach it to the record and draw a resource or district boundary, like I show here for this one, where I've drawn that blue box around a property to show how you would do that in the Surveyor app. With the archaeological resource form, users can collect similar information for archaeological sites that will be integrated back into PA Share. The archaeological resource form focuses on information that is most important to capture in the field, such as physical setting and condition, fieldwork details, artifacts, and features. Like the above ground form, photographs and boundaries can also be added to the site record. So you can see those screens as they would look on a mobile phone here, and what the different tools are for capturing a photograph. So finally, I get to the as promised prizes part of our webinar this morning. So this year, the PA SHPO is celebrating National Historic Preservation Month by asking Pennsylvanians to share with us a preservation success story from their communities by using PA Share's Success Story Wizard. And by doing so, you may just win something. So before I go into what those prizes are, a success story, if you're not familiar with what we mean by that, you can check out our blog. If you search for Preservation Happens Here, you'll find some information about the success stories. But essentially, it's an activity, an event, a person, organization, place, or something else that shines a spotlight on the good things people across the Commonwealth are doing every day to save and celebrate Pennsylvania's older and historic places. And we made the definition of a preservation success story very broad on purpose, because there are lots of different things that can count as a success when you're working towards a preservation outcome. So prizes. Between May 1st and May 31st, we will choose 3 entries using the PA Share Success Story Wizard for a free 3-month pro subscription to PA Share. Any entries that are submitted in May and continue throughout the year will also be automatically entered to win a 2021 PA SHPO Community Initiative Award. This is an award that we give out each year to recognize organizations, municipalities, agencies, individuals, and others whose work embodies the theme of Pennsylvania's statewide historic preservation plan, which is titled, it's a hashtag, Preservation Happens Here. And we typically select 3 to 4 winners from a pool of candidates, usually in the fall. We'll also be featuring success stories in future PA SHPO blog posts or newsletters, or on PHMC's social media accounts. So how do you do that? If you remember back, you go to that submit page and you find the success story wizard. So you will start by signing into PA Share. Guest users can submit success stories too, so no account is needed if you don't want to create one. And then, as I said, get to the submit page and click on the success story. So you'll want to give us a name for your story, a short description. You have space for 1,000 characters, and select the most appropriate category for your story. Don't get hung up on the category. You will have to pick one. Just pick the one that you think fits the best. And then you'll also need to tell us where the success story is. So choose the county and municipality. Next, getting to that contact information, we need you to tell us who you are and how to reach you. For guest users, if you opt to not create a PA Share account, it is very important that you fill in your name and email. PA Share defaults to general settings, and if you don't change those, we won't know who to contact. If you are a basic user or have a pro or business account, PA Share will remember your contact information and will pre-populate that for you. So for guest users, please make sure that you give us your name and email. Finally, you'll want to upload at least one photograph that best captures the story. That is required. You're welcome to include more than one, and you can also attach other information like news coverage, brochures, plans, etc., but attachments aren't required. At the bottom lower right corner of the screen, you'll see Submit to SHPO. You click that and you're good to go. So as promised, here is where you can go to learn more and find some help. As I wrap up, I would just say that there are two important takeaways. First, have lots of patience. This is a really, this is a new sophisticated system, much more so than CRGIS was, that we're all, SHPO included, are learning how to use and how to get around in. And second, help is available. We have a help desk that you can contact via email at pashare@pa.gov, as well as frequently asked questions and step-by-step tutorials on PHMC's website. And you can see those links right there on your screen. I also encourage you to check out our weekly blog. There is a ton of information there, not just about PA Share, but also about historic preservation in Pennsylvania, and all sorts of different topics. And we also have a couple of different e-news options that are also have a lot of great information. So I'm going to leave this slide up here so that everybody can study those while I am going to try and attempt to put my screen back on, start my video again. And I think Sabra is going to ask me any questions that came in while I was talking.
Yeah, great. And we do have a couple of questions. One is just a clarification. When you were demonstrating the submission wizards, you mentioned that you should, if you got your account, you should be sure that the email address entered there is the same used for the account.
Yes.
A question is, but you could add more emails than just yours. Do all of the contacts that you enter there need to have a share account?
No. So that's a really great question, and I will answer that, but I also would say to check out our frequently asked questions about submitting and for environmental review projects. So everything in, to get back into PA Share to look at something you've submitted, or if you're working for a client and they want to go in and see what you have submitted or what the SHPO's responses are, you can add as many people in that project's contact section as you would like. That means that they will get all those notification emails from PA Share, so you may need to give your client or your colleagues a heads up that they're going to start seeing a lot of emails. But that also means that when they get that email, they can click that link to get back to that response in PA Share. Sometimes it can be a little fussy or a little bit confusing, which is then I would encourage them to reach out to the help desk. It's staffed 5 days a week by a team of us, so you will get a response very quickly, and we'll help you kind of figure out why you can't get back in to see what you're looking for. But with the contacts, what I will also notice is that, or note that if you're a basic user, it'll pre-populate your contact information every time you go to fill in one of those forms, because it remembers you from your user profile. One of the other things that's included with a pro or business account, which I should have touched on, is that you get an address book. So if you have contacts for projects or colleagues or people that you're working with frequently and you want to be adding them to all sorts of different things, you can have an address book that saves that information for you.
Great. Okay. In the old system, you could upload shape files to start a buffer search. Will that feature be available in PA Share?
Right now, you can upload shape files if you are submitting project information for us. So if you're sending in information and need to map that, you can upload shape files there. I believe that uploading shape files to do a buffer search has been suggested to us already, and we've noted it as a future enhancement. But right now in a search, you can only download a shape file, not upload one.
Will the map database have the functionality to switch individual above ground layers? For example, if you've done a search and you wanted to be able to turn on and off all eligible properties.
Yes. So on our website, if you go to the page for help materials, you'll find a tutorial there for searching. You can turn on and off any of the layers that you see in your list by clicking on the icon of an eye, of it like a human looking eye. I will say that I should have noted some of the layers only activate when you zoom in. So there's so much information to show on that map that if you're seeing a layer name and it's like a light gray, it looks like it's not active, but it's there, continue to zoom into your map and they should activate.
Okay, great. If you have archaeology access, are you able to download archaeology site boundaries so that you can develop an APE as part of CRM work?
That is a very good question that I don't know the answer to, as I am not an archaeologist and I haven't worked with a lot of archaeological data, but that sounds like a perfect question for the help desk.
All
So
right.
sorry, I can't answer that one right now.
Will the ability for non-archaeologists to see completed archaeological surveys without the sensitive site locations be added?
That is, again, something that we've talked about. There is, if this question is kind of referring to that planner level access that we had in CRGIS, there is no direct comparison in PA Share, but if you believe that you had that level of access and could see that before and need to have it again, you can submit that to the help desk as well.
Oh, great. And I think this is our last question. When you map a new resource or district in the Surveyor app on the PA Share website, is that new resource district immediately viewable to every other PA Share user, or is there a review process for those submissions?
Right. So what happens in the process internally, there's a lot of different steps, but things that get submitted to us, whether it's through the Surveyor app or it's through a wizard on the submit page, go into a kind of holding tank that we call triage. And we have staff who are dedicated triage specialists who look at what's coming in. They determine if it's complete, is it accurate, does it have everything that we need to do whatever staff need to do with their reviews, and then they push it through into each of us have a personal queue. So for resources, they go into a similar kind of holding tank, and then we have staff who'll review them, and then if everything is complete and accurate, add them into PA Share. So things are not immediately viewable like that. We do have some kind of quality control steps that we go through.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Shelby. And I hope everybody learned a lot and got their their questions answered. If not, as Shelby mentions, the help desk is there to help you, as it's said. I'm gonna call out to the great void and invite Mindy Crawford to join us, our executive director. And pass things off to Mindy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shelby. This was really helpful. This is being recorded, and we will be providing a link for anyone that wants to watch it again or anyone who signed up and wasn't able to join us today. I just want to do a little commercial. Happy Preservation Month. We moved in 2021, we moved our at-risk announcement to May in conjunction with Preservation Month. And so next week, same time, same place. Well, actually, not quite the same place. You do need a separate link. We will be giving some updates on some of our previous at-risk properties and also announcing the 2021 list. So if you haven't signed up for that yet, please do so. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Thanks again, Shelby.
Bye,
Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.